So today we have a question about IRS notices and why the IRS takes so doggone long to respond to notices. Specific question from BMC 9587. Logan, great content. Quick question for you. You mentioned that the IRS is taking longer periods of time between sending letters. Is that because we are still in tax season, or are they just backed up in general? I handled a CP2000 notice beginning of April, got a 4314C back from them within a month, letting them know they got my CP2000 response, but they need up to 90 extra days to review. Seems like a long time. So let me go through this question part by part, starting with the third sentence there, where the commenter says, you mentioned the IRS is taking longer periods of time between sending letters. Okay. So when I mention that in my videos, I am referring only to the IRS CP500 series collection letters, CP501, CP503, CP504. Okay, these are increasingly urgent notices sent by the IRS to taxpayers urging them to deal with their balance with the IRS, or the IRS may take levy action against them. Levy means the IRS is going to start taking your stuff. Okay, so these are collection notices urging taxpayers to take action before they receive the final notice of intent to levy with rights to their CDP hearing, which would then give, if unresponded to, would give the IRS the right to start taking their stuff. It's only those letters that I'm referring to, because previously, before 2024, the IRS would send those CP500 series collection notices about 5 weeks apart, right? So you get the CP501, 5 weeks later you get the CP503, 5 weeks later you get the CP504, okay? Earlier this year, I think it was January, the IRS had a webinar for tax professionals basically saying, hey, we're going to start sending these notices 8 weeks apart, right? So instead of 5 weeks now between the CP501 and the 503, there's now 8 weeks. And now instead of 5 weeks between the CP503 and the 504, there's now 8 weeks, okay? So this seems just to be a policy-wide change. It wasn't phrased as a temporary measure. To your point, BMC, it could very well be because the IRS is just backed up in general, or maybe they want more penalties and interests to accrue against taxpayers before they take action on their account. The IRS's line here is they just want to give taxpayers more time to deal with their balance with the IRS before the IRS takes levy action against them. Okay, so when I've been talking about that BMC, it's not really talking about these AUR automated underreporter notices like the CP2000 that you mentioned and the 4314C. And for those of you at home, what are we talking about here? So the CP2000 is the notice that the IRS sends. You can see that right here. Sorry for the quality of this notice, but CP2000, this is the notice that the IRS automated underreporter unit sends to a taxpayer when it believes that the taxpayer did not report some income on their tax return, right? So basically they're saying, and this is based on things like 1099s and W-2s that are sent to the IRS, right? If you do some work for somebody's independent contractor, they're going to send you a 1099 NEC, and you got to pick that up on your tax return. If you don't, the IRS is going to send you this notice. We also see this, for a lot of crypto stuff these days. People not reporting their crypto on their tax return, and things like that. So in this particular taxpayer's case, the IRS said, hey, you didn't report some of these 1099 NECs, right? About $23,000 worth on your return, right? You didn't report any of this. Well, we see you got 1099s for $23,000. Now, in this case, the way to deal with a 1099 NEC kind of generate, or 1099 NEC related CP2000 is to say, hey, look, yeah, okay, I admit it. I didn't report that on my return, right? I forgot about it, or I didn't actually get the thing, or, I made a mistake, whatever. Okay, but I actually don't owe an extra $7,700 on my return because I have all these expenses that I could claim against that income, right? And hopefully that will get you out of the substantial tax understatement penalty, which is where if your understated tax is large enough, the IRS will tack you with this penalty. There's interest on top of that, right? So that's how they're generally responded to. I mean, there's other things that can trigger a CP2000 as well. I don't know what in particular that issue that our friend here, CP2000, was pertaining to, but it sounds like they responded to it, right, back in April. And then a month later, they got a 4314C. And that's right on schedule, by the way. Here's a 4314C we got on behalf of a client. You can see down here where, we faxed our reply to the CP2000. This client got a CP2000 that came to us. We reviewed their case, and we faxed to the AUR department on the CP2000, a big old package, right, with a cover letter, our POAs, our supporting documents for why the taxpayer doesn't actually owe, this much, or whatever the amount was for this taxpayer, but they actually owe less or nothing at all. I don't remember the details of this specific case because I redacted the name on here. Basically, so we faxed our reply to the AUR IRS Automated Underreporter Department on October 7th, and then lo and behold, they sent out this 4314C a month later on November 7th. Okay. And similar to our friend in the comments section, what do they say? We need additional time to complete our review of the information you provided on October 7th. If we can't complete our review within 90 days, we'll contact you again with an update on when you can expect our response. Right. So this, 90-day time frame commenter that you mentioned in your comment, right? It basically matched this is matching exactly our experience as well, right? You respond to the CP2000, about a month later you get the 4314C, which says the IRS needs an additional 90 days. Don't be surprised, commenter BMC, if you get another 4314C after that 90 days telling you they need even more time, okay? Because that is not uncommon. I will say that with respect to this situation, yes, IRS AUR, IRS Automated Underreporter Department is backed up. And you got to keep track of them because sometimes things slip through the cracks. You'll send over your nice response to the CP2000. You get the 4314C. You might get multiple of those notices saying, hey, we need another 90 days. But then before you know it, you get the statutory notice of deficiency, CP3219A, basically saying, hey, you've got 90 days to submit your tax court petition, right? And if you ignore that, they'll eventually basically assess the tax and then send you the collection notices, and then eventually maybe take forced collection activity against you, even though you send a response to that CP2000, because that's just how backed up and inefficient IRS AUR is right now. For our CP2000 cases, right, our EA or tax attorney, whoever's on the case, they are calling AUR every 30 days basically for an update, making sure it's not falling through the cracks, right, because the notice was adequately responded to. So I would say, BMC, for the CP2000 notices, you might just think your job is done when you fax the response. Unfortunately, that's not the case with AUR. Okay, it's not just like sending over a tax return. It's going to be processed by, the tons of IRS employees who process tax returns. AUR is a smaller department, okay, and they are backed up. I don't know exactly what their staffing is, but I mentioned they're probably understaffed. They are not responding to CP2000 notices promptly. They are sending out these letters like the 4314C saying they need an additional 90 days. And sometimes things fall through the cracks and they don't even get to your response. And then they're sending you the notice of deficiency. So you got to stay on AUR with these, with cases that you have with them. All right, folks, I hope this was helpful and informative to any of you out there who are dealing with IRS notices right now. Whether it be the collection notices, but in particular CP2000s and responses to CP2000s. I have some other tax relief videos here on the left-hand side of your screen. If you're dealing with a tax problem right now, give us a call. Choice Tax Relief 866-8000-TAX. You can also visit us at choicetaxrelief.com. Fill out the form on the homepage, and we will reach out to you. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.